Jorge Vilda doubling down on what's been going on instead of maybe reflecting, seeing what the players have said, coming back with maybe an apology, might have been first on the old agenda there. Has instead said that he's left 15 players out of the squad for this month's meetings with Sweden and the US, accused players of being very poorly advised and refused to offer them a way back. And this is less than 10 months before the World Cup. So, there's a lot of damage being done to this squad. Jorge also, commenting he's deeply hurt and accused the players of failing to explain why they wanted him out. He's then sort of called on footballers to speak out if they felt that his behaviour had been inappropriate.
They did.
But that doesn't matter to Jorge. That's a very minor point.
It blows my mind a little bit. I think actually his reaction in itself, what's so kind of closed off, what they don't even realise is the reaction almost like proves what the players are saying.
Absolutely this. When I watched his press conference after he announced the squad, the ego that was rolling off the mat, like the unpleasantness you could feel as he, like even just the way he was speaking to journalists who were asking like critical questions, I was like, wow, if you ever wanted to wonder why players maybe didn't like working with him, all you have to do is watch that press conference right there.
And I just think this thing of like, he didn't want to talk about anything. I'm only going to talk about the players that were called up. Like the absolute lack of interest in any kind of dialogue with the players. If this was any other place of business, in any other, company, and you had the core of your staff saying there's a problem here, the way we're being treated, the way that the facilities we have, this is impacting us mentally and physically. And they had to go to, I don't know, an HR of some sort. And they just turned around and went, oh yeah, sorry about you. Like, we're back in the manager. That just wouldn't happen. Like, that would just not happen. The concept of a majority of your staff or team, if you like, calling issues and just being completely overlooked and backing the manager just kind of blows my mind, really. I don't even know. There's obviously some sort of cronyism, nepotism sort of situation going on there, but the complete lack of interest in any sort of dialogue, I think for me, really actually backs everything the Spanish players have said.
And it's just so upsetting for those players who are one of, the most talented sets of players in the world. I think we know Spain's most talented generation ever, who are now faced with this decision whereby either they seem to have to renege on what they said before, and who knows even then if they'll get called back up, because obviously Irene Paredes had led some of the conversations around Vilda prior, didn't sign the letter, still wasn't called up to the team. She's the captain. I don't see her coming back. So even if they apologise, they might not get called back. And now they face risking missing a World Cup as a result, all because the Spanish FA are more interested in protecting a mediocre man than their own footballers.
I feel like an apology wouldn't be enough. They'd want them to be embarrassed on a world stage, I think. And like going back to my analogy of it being another company, if you were in that situation, you could always go and work for another company. That option is there. They don't have that option. They want to play for their country and represent the passion they have to do that at the best of their ability is the reason that they're saying what they're saying. It's not because they don't respect the badge or they respect the country or respect playing for their country. That's the priority for them. And they know how good they could be. Like some of them saying they'd come back from camp in worse condition than and have to go back to club feeling worse because they weren't properly being, treated and all that kind of stuff. It's just, they're literally calling out for better conditions before what could potentially be one of the best teams in the world. They could be. That is their potential.
I think it's that. That's the worst thing about the situation, I think, obviously, with what's happened. But the potential of that squad to be so amazing, to be one of the ones that everyone was really excited to watch next year is like being the big contenders. And, they've obviously just done this draw. The draw with Sweden last week, 1-1. And, we were talking a little bit about this before. It's probably not helpful to the cause because now it kind of escalates Vilda being like, okay, well, we've dropped 15 players and I'm still, putting in a really good shift against an incredible side.
And what's funny is that like players that have been called up are players that people were like, why have they not been called up for the Euros? Now they get called up, play well, and he's like, see, I told you. And you're like, no, you don't get to get credit for this as well, for God's sake.
It's just, it's the ignorance. It's the absolute ignorance.
The ego.
Yeah, it's that. And it's so defiant. In the post-match, he sort of talked about there being a united team. There were loads of people whistling, booing when he sort of came out. But again, not really fazed by anyone's opinion is Jorge. So he will continue for the indefinite future, which makes me just feel a little bit upset about what's going to happen to the other 15 players. Like, where's their recourse? Where's their sort of
Have they
point
got
of
like
appeal?
an English grandma or like a French father that they could tap up and get to see them on the world
Oh my
stage where
God,
they
can you
deserve to be?
imagine Alexia
Yeah, do
Putellas
they-
playing for England at the World
You
Cup.
know, like she's got a nan who lives in Bolton. Like, yes, come on, Putellas.